Like an individual, has beautiful hindquarters and
By
real
Royal
sprinter.
Academy. By Royal Academy out of Bespoken, which was a vain mare. Trained by John Simons. John's got a lot of 2-year-olds. He's put a lot of his time into his 2-year-olds. And I'd like to hear him say if he had one better, because I'm not sure if he has produced another horse, another 2-year-old this time in. We'll go down to Mark Aston.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, Kevin Sheedy is the owner of this very, very impressive colt. That was a very, very good win. Yeah, part owner. Very impressive win, Kevin.
Well, look, I mean, I've been away, and look, all the accolades really should go to Masson Lodge. I mean, they've picked the horse for the group of people with Michael Duffy and that. And look, I mean, that's the first time I've seen him run. As I said, I missed the first race in Cox Plate Day, and for that to get up and perform, I think it's won by about 4 or 5 lengths, so really pleasing for and the kids. I've got some kids here to come along today to have a look.
Yeah, well, so how do you feel as an owner being here during the Melbourne Cup Carnival and seeing your horse win?
Well, it's really pleasing. I mean, I've always liked the races. My grandmother and grandfather used to bring us when we were little kids out the back here and down at Caulfield and Moonee Valley, so they're always been into racing. And but I've been into footy, and I love my football. But it's great to have an interest with a lot of Bomber fans. And I think John Simons went to school with Leon Baker, and he's a good friend of Bluey Shelton, so it's a pretty good Essendon connection. And Brian Donny was champion selectors on the board at Essendon, so it's a bit of an Essendon type horse.
Well done, Kevin. Congratulations.
No worries at all. Thanks a lot.
Kevin Sheedy there. Pete, he loves his footy and he loves his racing.
He does love his racing, and this fellow, well, he is just full of himself, Bellesprit. You could see that he was trying to whip around and maybe get rid of Smokey Trelaw, and Smokey's got the seatbelt on and he's hanging on for grin death.
He might know he's good already, Pete.
Yeah, I think he
Tell you
does.
what, if he gets away, Pete, there'll be plenty want to catch him.
Got a box
If they
in
can.
there,
I reckon, yeah. I'll walk home with him back to Adelaide.
Smokey Trelaw just showing Bellesprit who's boss, but how impressive was he, defeating Nasuno and Cuzzy after the Clemenger BBDO Maribyrnong Plate. Back with the dividends and the weight signal after this. I think we may have seen a pretty smart animal in the second. Bellesprit winning convincingly and running exceptional time, 57 seconds, only 1.5 seconds outside the record held by Special, and he switched off at the end, pricked up his ears, so he could have improved on that time. He could be something outstanding, Bellesprit. Let's hope we get the weight signal here in the second. It is there. Thank you to Chairman of Stewards Des Gleeson. He's still full of himself. You wouldn't even think he'd had a start, this colt. And he is something very, very good indeed, Bellesprit. With correct weight, let's get the dividends all around Australia with Dan Malicki.
And a reasonably popular result all round, Pete. 171.10 Bellesprit, 230 Nasuno, 190 for Cuzzy. Quinella 8.10 exacta, the same, $8.10. Trifecta 44.10, running double $30.10 on 14 and 2. Tim, he got out to a price in the ring that was sort of alarming at one stage there. Everyone considered that he was unbeatable, yet he was quite backable odds for a while.
Absolutely, and smart money came very, very late. As I mentioned, it did touch black figures, albeit briefly. He did get unders on the tote. He did pay a little bit better in the ring, but it was back late. But certainly the big money was for the top weight, Wyndham Glory. But gee, didn't it win like a 10s on pop, Bellesprit. Over to race 3 in the program, the Matriarch Stakes. It's a race in 3 according to the early markets, 1, 3 and 7. But it is Calm Smitzer and Damien Oliver who's opened up a short price favourite, Pete.
Oregon Seal is one of the ones that Tim Gossage mentioned there, and I thought it was a particularly good run at Moonee Valley. It's my tip in the race. What did you come up with, Jen?
I've come up with the top weight, number 1, Tickle Maya. This horse has just been flying. She's a high-class type of mare, Pete. Thought she'd be very hard to beat. For second, I've put in number 9, Tyroline, a horse that we've all been watching run on and run on. D-Day for her. And number 2, Altiero for third.
What's your top pick, Simo?
I think the pumper will just relax on Altiero. This horse's win during the Werribee Cup Carnival, did win the Werribee Cup, Pete, was fantastic, I thought. Will improve back here at Flemington, especially over the 2000. It's just going to settle back and have the last crack at him. From the 3, Calm Smitzer, beautifully placed today. She's going to win a race, this will be it. And the 8, Regal Touch.
Tyroline for you, Lexi. I know you're keen on her.
Yes, I'm very keen on her today. I think she can break through today with Stevie Arnold to ride. Blinkers on the first time, JB coming, so I think she'll have a lovely run. I think she'll break through today quite easily.
Would have been happier with Oregon Seal if there had been perhaps a little bit of rain, but her run at Moonee Valley was just so good, Jen. I think she'll be hard to beat.
Yep, it was a terrific run, Pete, for sure. And you're quite right, though. Loves the wet.
Yeah. And Bobby Skelton, of course, is the trainer of Oregon Seal, and he's riding in the Legends race a little bit later on. The winner from last year.
Yes, he's got a bit of form in the race, hasn't he?
He has. Yeah, last start winner.
Yes.
It was only 12 months ago.
They were calling him Bobby Big Bucks after that last year.
Is that right?
To Dubai, yeah. Had a side wager too, he did with the boys in in the jocks room, Pete.
Presentation's coming up in just a moment. I'll just ask you, because you rode in the Legends race as well as Letzi last year. Now, you're a pretty fit fella. How did you pull up after the race?
Oh, I felt like well, I did dry reach when I got back to the jockeys room, I'll tell you that, because I had to punch mine out for 800 metres, and let's see, you can prepare for it, but there's nothing like race day conditions and going flat out for 800, is it?
Nothing like the real thing, Simon. I was talking actually to Colin Alderson and Bobby Skilt yesterday. It was funny because they were talking about last year. Colin threw him on and said, just sit there, it'll win. And Bobby said to him yesterday, he said, you never give me a ride when I have my licence. He said, look at the money we could have made. He said, you only got the ride on that because you drew it. And he said, but what about the sling? 2 trips to Dubai.
Yeah, fantastic prizes. Jen, Linda Jones riding in the race today.
Yes.
It is wonderful to have her. We're going to be talking to her a little bit later on. Tim Webster's going to be catching up with Linda. She was the one who blazed the trail for lady jockeys.
Oh, for sure, Pete. Reason being, she was riding a very good horse in New Zealand, and then she was coming out to ride for Alan Jones. And when she got here, obviously she couldn't ride because there was no lady jockeys licences available, and she was the one who got the rules changed.
It seems impossible that it's only, what, just a couple of decades ago that was the case.
Well, it does, and she's a lovely girl, Linda, and I'm looking forward to seeing her ride again as well. I just hope they all don't pull up too sore, these jockeys, because it would be difficult.
Yeah, I think they'll probably be feeling it, but they might have a glass of champagne a little bit later on to dull the pain a bit.
Well, they might. And also interesting, we were just talking before in the break, Pete, you know, the different riding styles now. A lot of the Victorian jockeys and indeed around Australia have changed their riding style. More like American, the English. And we just saw Wayne Treloar, more the old school, win a race there.
And you'll notice that in this Legends race, you'll see Bobby Skelton riding, and he always rides that little bit longer. And you'll see Lester Piggott with his knees up near his chin, so very changing styles, Pete.
OK, time now for the presentation after the Clemenger